notorious Nazi SS symbol. National Security Correspondent Saga Magani reports from the Pentagon.
An initial Marine investigation found the troops mistakenly believed the SS was a nod to sniper scouts and that they would not be disciplined because there was no malicious intent. But with furor growing from Jewish groups and others wondering whether it was an innocent mistake, Panetta has now told the Marine Corps to reinvestigate and take appropriate action. The top Marine general has apologized and ordered commanders to make sure snipers and reconnaissance Marines understand it's inappropriate to use anti-Semitic symbols. Sagar Magani at the Pentagon.
With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Sean Scott Ferguson.
The end of the world as you know it has arrived. Because with my reappearance on Raw, I spell the end. The end of thievery, the end of plagiarism, the end of charlatans and liars claiming to be something they are not. By just reappearing on Raw, I have made every other performer in this company obsolete. Because every man and woman who appears in this ring is nothing more than a Chris Jericho wannabe. A cheap copy of me stealing my ideas and thoughts that I made popular, that I invented. I've got a whole roster of WWE superstars that are Chris Jericho wannabes in the back, and a whole arena filled with Chris Jericho wannabes right here, right now. Oh yeah. And the pathetic thing is, I manipulated all of you without saying a single word. I trolled all of you. And you did whatever I said because you're all wannabes, just like The Miz. Before The Miz walked out here with a suit and tie and a scowl and talking very slowly, I did it first. Before Kofi Kingston came here and did all of these incredible moves, I did things in this ring that you had never seen before. Before R-Truth said, "What's up?" I said, "Shut the hell up." Before Dolph Ziggler walked to the ring with Vicky Guerrero, I walked to the ring for the main event of WrestleMania 18 with Stephanie McMahon. And then there's CM Punk. The worst of them all. A man who will look you in the eye and bold-faced lie by saying he's the best in the world when he certainly is not. He's not original or unique. He's nothing more than a Chris Jericho wannabe. And he knows deep down inside that I, and I alone, am the best in the world at everything I do. I am the best in the world at everything I do, and I don't have to write it on the back of a t-shirt to prove it. Because I am it. Because I live and breathe it. Because I became it when I became the first undisputed champion in the history of this business. When I dominated the WWE and won every championship you could conceivably win. When I eliminated 28 other men in the Royal Rumble, including Randy Orton in his very own hometown, I earned the right to be called the best in the world. It's my legacy, it's my legend, it's who I am. So yes, this is the end of the world as you know it, because I am coming back to reclaim what is mine. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to an abbreviated version of Pro Wrestling Weekly, or an abbreviated edition. Fearon Derry here with you on 1490 WBCB, another edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Only with you today until 12:45. due to high school basketball, so we're going to get right into it. Of course, talking a little bit of exposition today, as you heard in the opening clip. Chris Jericho kind of breaking his silence and laying out why he's back. And over the course of that lengthy promo, which I cut a little bit out of for time constraints, he pretty much reverted back to the character that he was when he left back in 2010. All that was missing was calling the fans gelatinous tapeworms and sycophants and other verbiage of that nature. But otherwise, it pretty much the same, other than kind of calling people out for copying. I wonder if that's a little bit of a jab at Kurt Angle for claiming that Randy Orton has used a few of his moves as of late. I know that was going on Twitter over the course of the last few months, last 6 months, I would say. A lot to talk about in the course of the next 30-some-odd minutes. We'll, of course, preview the Against All Odds pay-per-view. TNA's Against All Odds will, of course, be tomorrow night. I've got my predictions certain to go wrong for that. We've got more of a Twitter battle between John Cena and The Rock as we make our way to WrestleMania. And it looks like a little bit more of the same with that. We'll also talk about the 3 matches set up so far for Elimination Chamber, which is 1 week from tomorrow. And, a lot more good stuff as well. We have today in wrestling history. And, of course, the, not really Star Wars-themed Impact that occurred this past Thursday, but more the Star Wars-sponsored Impact is kind of more of what went on there. So all that plus your calls as well. Let's get into a little bit of news and notes, actually. We'll take care of a couple of tidbits here, a couple of injury notes, actually. We'll get that out of the way first. R-Truth, he was injured during that six-pack challenge main event from Monday's Raw. He flipped over the top rope, for those who missed it, and crashed to the floor when The Miz failed to break his fall. Meanwhile, Eve, she suffered a bloody nose when Beth Phoenix caught her with a stiff clothesline during that 8-Diva tag match. Eve was in the ring for a bit, but eventually tagged out, rolled to the floor where Alicia Fox went to check on her. Looks like they'll both be okay. Truth won't miss any time. Just a bit of a scare from that crash landing. He's actually on the Raw tour in Abu Dhabi and expected to work the 3 live events going on there. Also, John Laurinaitis, it looks like he's going to continue to serve as the interim general manager of the Raw brand. That was, of course, decided by the WWE Board of Directors. And Triple H, he made his intentions clear regarding the challenge for WrestleMania. The Undertaker looking to go one more time with Triple H. And in yet another lengthy promo, Triple H explaining that he basically doesn't want to finish The Undertaker off, that he pushed him to the limit last year and would rather remember The Undertaker for what he was as opposed to him being carted off at last year's WrestleMania being the final image of The Undertaker. So, yeah, Taker, of course, saying, give me what is mine, vengeance, and it looks like we're still going to get that match. It's just a matter of how we get there and the added wild card into things. Well, this Monday, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, making an appearance on Raw. We'll also talk about some upcoming appearances that the Rock has leading to WrestleMania. Speaking of that, a lot to go on to, but let's go ahead and get to the phones. Let's kick things off. Old school with old school here on BCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Old school, welcome to the show.
How's it going? How you guys doing?
Not too bad. What's on your mind?
What happened to Jack Ryder?
Jack Ryder? Is he a distant cousin of Zack Ryder, the WWE wrestler at the moment? I guess it might have been a little bit since you've been watching, but no, Zack. He's currently kind of embroiled, at least as a side piece of the current feud going on with Kane and John Cena. Of course, Ryder, kind of the little buddy of John Cena, and since Ryder's lost the U.S. title, he's basically been consistently on a week-to-week basis beat up by Kane. To the point even at the Royal Rumble where he was while in a wheelchair, he was beat up at that point. So he's I guess he's working on recovering from those injuries, and looks like he'll hopefully by WrestleMania be back in a match. But that's kind of what's led to this Embrace the Hate feud that's kind of gone on with Kane trying to basically turn John Cena heel, and that's led to their Elimination Chamber matchup that'll be a week from tomorrow. Well, not they won't be in the Elimination Chamber, but they'll be wrestling in an ambulance match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Okay. What about Kevin Nash? What's going on with him?
Well, his tour of duty with the WWE that kind of ended after that feud with Triple H didn't exactly garner the interest that a lot of people thought it would. And now, I mean, he's wrestling a little bit here and there on the independent circuit, obviously doing some autograph sessions and things of that nature. I mean, there's only so much you can ask for as far as an in-ring effort from somebody at his age. I mean, he's 52, will be 53 in July. So I mean, I don't know how, and especially with that size. I mean, his history of bad knees. I don't know if I'd necessarily expect to see him back in a ring for either of the two big, the big two, either of the televised brands anytime soon. I think WWE's. Well, they both had their run with him. I mean, TNA certainly had him for a while. I don't think he wants to go back there. And plus, well, I don't think he can go back there because he's, even though he's not on camera anymore, he has that Legends contract. So I think that that prevents him from going over to TNA, at least for the duration of it. And I don't think once that's up. Well, Scott Hall, I know we've talked about his troubles quite a bit over the course of the last few months. Obviously, he's
he had a drug problem or something like that.
Yeah, he's been dealing with those personal demons. Actually, I don't know if you saw ESPN, but a couple months ago they had that E60 piece that kind of talked about those drug and alcohol issues and how he's been trying to train his I believe 20-year-old son Cody Hall to get into the business and hopefully kind of rekindle the relationship between father and son. But that's kind of fallen apart a bit as well as Hall tries to get back on the road to recovery.
Okay. It was nice talking to you people.
Oh, thanks, Old School. Always appreciate the phone call. Yep, you do the same.
God bless.
No problem.
Bye.
Thanks, Old School. Yeah, you never know where Old School's going to go. Definitely keeping me on my toes, to say the least. Let's go ahead and get to the TNA Against All Odds lineup for tomorrow night. Only one time out today, so I've kind of shaken things up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lineup here, and then we'll get back to the phones. We've got 7 matches set up on the card. Of course, the one that was set up this past Thursday, kind of an addition, Gunner against Garrett Bischoff, the continued push of Garrett Bischoff. Well, yeah, it's definitely continuing, and that actually leads to a topic I want to get into next week, and we'll get into that on the other side of the timeout. But I think based on the push that's going on, yeah, I have a feeling that Garrett's going to win this. And, of course, to add fun to the matter, we've got Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff in the respective corners. Eric Bischoff in Gunner's corner and Hogan in Garrett's corner. So I'm sure Hogan will get involved in some capacity to help Garrett get the win. AJ Styles against Kazarian, that should be a pretty good match. I think Kaz is going to win that just because it doesn't make a lick of sense, and TNA is notorious for that. Jesse Sorensen against Zema Ion for the number one contenders match for the X Division Championship. I think they're going to go with Jesse Sorensen on that. He's gotten a little bit more of a push, but I don't know. It's been hard for the X Division to come up with some credible contenders for Austin Aries, who'll be defending that X Division title against Alex Shelley. Still waiting for Chris Sabin to recover from the torn ACL and MCL. So the Motor City Machine Guns can get back together and hopefully try to repair the tag division. And for that reason, I think Austin Aries is still going to hang on to that X Division belt. Not sure, I don't know what giving it to Alex Shelley at this point will do, but they still need to build up some credible contenders for that belt. Speaking of those tag titles, though, Crimson and Matt Morgan against Samoa Joe and Magnus. They're doing what they can to build up the tag titles, and for that reason, I think Crimson and Matt Morgan are going to retain, although I'm sure Joe's going to do everything he can to make it a great match. Gail Kim and Tara for the Knockouts title. I think Gail Kim she'll retain on that as well. And then, of course, the 4-way match, Bobby Roode, Bully Ray, James Storm, and Jeff Hardy. That 4-way match for the TNA World Championship. And Sting, of course, will be the special enforcer for that. I think with the odds stacked against Bobby Roode, he's still going to find a way to pull it off, and knowing TNA, they'll probably have a special this coming Thursday, and that's more than likely where Rude would lose the belt if something like that were to occur, because that's kind of how TNA rolls. They build more for the TV audience than they do the pay-per-view, so title changes haven't exactly been a big deal for that reason, so I think Bobby Roode's going to take that. So, yeah, Garrett Bischoff, Kazarian, Sorensen, Matt Morgan and Crimson, Gail Kim, Austin Aries, and, of course, Bobby Roode. Those are my picks for Against All Odds tomorrow. Of course, they're for entertainment purposes only, and I don't know if I'm necessarily great at this, as so far for the year I'm 6-6 on my picks, so go figure. All right, let's go ahead and get a look at the local scene before we take care of our time out here. Let's get to Ed from the Northeast. Ed, what's going on?
We got CCW tonight at the Flyer Skate Zone in Voorhees with a 7:30 p.m. bell time.
That sounds like some great stuff. I know they've been all over the place recently.
And March 10th, they're at the Boyle's World's Gym in the Northeast with a 7:30 p.m. bell time.
That should be some good stuff. Now that show later today, that's at 7:30 at the Flyer Skate Zone over in Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay, they've got a pretty good lineup from what I saw on that.
We have the Extreme Reunion coming up with some of the. We have Raven, we have Shane Douglas, the Gangsters, and FBI listed.
And that's going to be at the Pennsylvania.
Guard Armory.
The Guard Armory right there at right in the Northeast there, just past Ben Salem on. What is that? Is that Byberry in the Boulevard?
Southampton.
Or Southampton, that's right. Southampton. That's right. Byberry's the next street up. I kind of know that area a little bit. It's not too far from the old house there.
And we've got Cage Combat from MMA at the World's Gym at 7 o'clock tonight.
So there's definitely options depending on where you want to go.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Ed. I'm up against the break here. I only got one of them, and then we're about 20 and change minutes away from some high school basketball. Thanks for the call. I got to run, though. Thank you so much, Ed. Always giving that look at the local scene. Always appreciated. Anyway, we'll take care of a little bit of business here. Come back. We've got Ron on the line. We've got room for you, plus the Facebook feedback. I haven't even gotten to that yet. Let me give you the numbers. 215-949-3232, as well as toll-free at 888-922-2149. Also, if you want to express your opinion, but little shy to get on the air. I know live radio can scare a lot of people, but I keep insisting you can hardly do worse than I can with this. But you can leave a message on the Facebook fan page. That's WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly, and we'll go ahead and get to your Facebook feedback, including John from the Northeast, who always likes to contribute. I'll get to him on the other side as well. Also, Ross from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew out there. We'll get some of his opinions as well here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.